Close your eyes for a moment and think about this. Have you ever felt like there's more to life than what we see with our physical eyes? Like there's an invisible force, something vast, powerful, and deeply connected to your very essence, that's waiting for you to notice it. Maybe you felt it in fleeting moments, an unexplainable sense of peace, a sudden synchronicity that leaves you speechless, or the feeling that you're being guided by something greater than yourself. That's spiritual energy. And when you begin to tap into it, especially in the fifth dimension, everything about your reality begins to shift. But what does it mean to connect to spiritual energy in the fifth dimension? And how do you even know it's happening? Most of us live in the third dimension, right? This is the physical world, the world of form, time, and space. It's the world where things feel separate, where we perceive ourselves as individuals navigating a reality that's outside of us. But beyond this physical realm, there are higher dimensions of consciousness. The fifth dimension is one of them, and it's where spiritual energy flows freely. It's a state of being where you begin to see through the illusion of separation and realize that you are deeply interconnected with everything. This is where manifestation becomes instantaneous, where time collapses, and where you experience life as pure energy, vibration, and flow.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
Now, here's the thing. Tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension doesn't require you to leave your physical body or escape your current life. It's not about running away to a monastery or meditating in a cave for years. It's about a shift in awareness, a subtle but profound awakening to the truth of who you are. And it starts with signs. The universe is constantly communicating with us, but we often miss the messages because we're too focused on the noise of the third dimensional world. However, when you begin to align with the fifth dimension, the signs become undeniable. They show up in your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences, and even your body. They're clues that you're beginning to tap into the spiritual energy that's always been within you. So let's dive into the first sign. Imagine this. You're going about your day and suddenly, time feels different. Maybe you lose track of it completely, or maybe it feels like it's speeding up and slowing down at the same time. You look at the clock and hours have passed, but it feels like only minutes. Or maybe the opposite happens. You've been working on something for just a few moments, but it feels like an eternity. This is one of the first signs that you're tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. You see, in the fifth dimension, time doesn't exist the way it does in the third dimension. It's not linear, it's fluid, expansive, and multidimensional. When you start to experience time in this way, it's a signal that your consciousness is shifting. You're no longer bound by the rigid structure of the third dimension. Instead, you're beginning to co-create with the infinite possibilities of the fifth dimension. But let's pause here for a moment. Ask yourself, how do I experience time right now? Do you feel like it's something you're constantly running out of? Like a ticking clock that's always working against you? Or do you feel like time is an ally, something that bends and flows with you? This question is important because your relationship with time reflects your relationship with consciousness. If you're still stuck in the scarcity mindset of the third dimension, time will feel like a limitation. But as you begin to tap into spiritual energy, you'll notice that time becomes irrelevant. You'll find yourself living more in the present moment, where everything flows effortlessly. Now let's move to the second sign. Have you ever had a moment when everything just hum lines up? like the universe is conspiring in your favor. Maybe you think about someone, and they call you seconds later, or you're struggling with a problem, and the perfect solution falls into your lap out of nowhere. These aren't coincidences, they're synchronicities, and they're one of the clearest signs that you're tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. Synchronicities happen when your inner world aligns with the outer world. They're the universe's way of saying, yes, you're on the right path, keep going. When you're living in the third dimension, synchronicities might feel rare, like happy accidents that happen once in a blue moon. But when you begin to align with the fifth dimension, they become a regular part of your life. Why? Because in the fifth dimension, there's no separation between you and the universe. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are directly connected to the fabric of reality. So when you think a thought, the universe responds instantly. This is why synchronicities appear. They're a reflection of your heightened vibration. Here's a question for you. What synchronicities have shown up in your life recently? Think about it. Maybe it was a repeating number you kept seeing, a weekly repeated pattern. Is there something to be learned from all of this? Look to the High Priest tic-tac section of this and see what patterns are important. 2 weeks ago, you read 300, 11, 222, 333. Maybe it was a random encounter with a stranger that changed your perspective. These moments aren't random. They're signs that you're beginning to tap into the flow of spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. But here's the thing about synchronicities. They require you to pay attention. The universe is always sending you signs, but if you're too caught up in the distractions of the third dimension, you'll miss them. This is why presence is so important. The more present you are, the more you'll notice the magic that's unfolding all around you. So let me ask you, are you paying attention? Are you open to the messages the universe is sending you? Or are you too focused on what's not working in your life? Shifting your focus can change everything. We've covered 2 signs so far: the fluidity of time and the appearance of synchronicities. These are profound shifts that show you're beginning to tap into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. But they're just the beginning. In the next part, we're going to explore even deeper signs that will take you into the heart of what it means to live in alignment with the fifth dimension. Get ready, because this is where the real transformation begins. Let's take a deeper dive into this journey. If you're still with me, it means you're not just here for surface-level answers. You're here because you feel something stirring inside you, even if you can't fully explain it yet. It's like there's a quiet inner voice calling you to step into something greater, something more aligned with your true essence. This is the awakening within, a profound shift in your emotions and energy that signals you're tapping into the spiritual energy of the fifth dimension. Let's talk about emotions. In the third dimension, emotions are often reactive. We feel anger when someone wrongs us, sadness when we experience loss, joy when things go our way. Our emotions are tied to external circumstances, like waves rising and falling in response to the winds of life. But in the fifth dimension, something incredible happens. Your emotions stop being reactive and start becoming intentional. You begin to realize that your emotions aren't just responses, they're tools. They're vibrational frequencies that shape your reality. One of the clearest signs that you're aligning with the fifth dimension is the shift in how you experience emotions. Suddenly, you find yourself choosing emotions instead of being controlled by them. For example, let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. In the past, you might have felt anger or frustration, but now something's different. Instead of reacting, you pause. You feel a sense of calm wash over you, and you choose to respond with understanding or even gratitude. You realize that holding on to anger isn't worth the energetic cost. This isn't just about being positive all the time. It's about stepping into your power as a conscious creator of your emotional state. Here's a question for you. How often do you feel like your emotions are running your life? Be honest. Do you feel like you're constantly reacting to people, situations, and circumstances? Or are you starting to notice moments where you can pause, breathe, and shift your emotional energy? This shift is a powerful indicator that you're tapping into the spiritual energy of the fifth dimension. In this space, you realize that joy, love, and peace aren't things you need to chase. They're states of being that you can access at any time. Now, let's move beyond emotions and talk about energy. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the vibe? Maybe it felt heavy, like something was off, or maybe it felt light and uplifting. That's energy. Everything in the universe is made of energy, including you. And when you begin to align with the fifth dimension, your sensitivity to energy skyrockets. You start to feel things more deeply, not just your own emotions, but the energy of people, places, and even situations. This heightened sensitivity can be both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, it allows you to connect with others on a deeper level. You can sense what people are feeling, even if they don't say it out loud. You might even find yourself drawn to certain people, places, or experiences because their energy resonates with yours. On the other hand, this sensitivity can feel overwhelming at times, especially if you're surrounded by negativity or chaos. This is why energetic boundaries become so important as you tap into the fifth dimension. Here's a practical tip. Start paying attention to how your energy feels in different environments. Do you feel drained after spending time with certain people? Do you feel energized when you're in nature? These are clues about what aligns with your vibration and what doesn't. One of the most powerful things you can do is create an energetic practice to protect and recharge yourself. This could be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to meditate, visualize a protective light around your body, or even just spend time doing something that nourishes your soul. Let me ask you something. How often do you check in with your energy? Most of us are so focused on our to-do lists and external responsibilities that we rarely stop to ask, how do I feel right now? But this question is crucial. Your energy is your compass. It tells you whether you're in alignment or out of sync. The more you tune into it, the more you'll notice when something feels off and be able to adjust accordingly. This is one of the most practical ways to anchor yourself in the fifth dimension. Another incredible sign that you're tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension is the way you start to experience your relationships. In the third dimension, relationships are often transactional. We give love, attention, or support with the expectation of receiving something in return. But in the fifth dimension, relationships take on a whole new meaning. They become mirrors, reflections of your own energy and growth. You begin to see that every person in your life is there to teach you something, to help you grow, and to remind you of who you truly are. This can be a beautiful and humbling realization. Suddenly, those difficult relationships that once caused you pain take on new significance. You start to see them as opportunities for healing and transformation. For example, let's say you have a co-worker who constantly triggers you. Instead of blaming them or wishing they would change, you begin to ask yourself, what is this person teaching me about myself? Maybe they're showing you an unhealed wound or a limiting belief that you're ready to let go of. When you approach relationships from this perspective, you unlock the deeper spiritual lessons they have to offer. But here's the flip side. As you raise your vibration and align with the fifth dimension, some relationships will naturally fall away. This can be one of the hardest parts of the journey. You might notice that you no longer resonate with certain friends, family members, or social circles. It's not that they're bad or wrong, it's just that your energy is changing. And as your energy changes, so does your reality. This is a natural part of the process, but it can feel lonely or confusing at times. So let me ask you, are you holding on to relationships that no longer serve your growth? Be honest with yourself. Sometimes we cling to people out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of change, or fear of letting go. But the truth is, when you release what no longer aligns with your vibration, you create space for relationships that uplift and inspire you. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life abruptly or harshly. It means honoring your own growth and trusting that the universe will bring the right people into your path. So far, we've explored how emotional mastery, heightened sensitivity to energy, and transformative relationships are signs that you're tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. These shifts are profound, but they can also feel challenging as you navigate this new level of awareness. In the next part, we're going to dive even deeper into how your sense of identity and purpose transforms when you align with the fifth dimension. Get ready to uncover the next layer of your spiritual awakening. Let's go even deeper now. By this point, you're already beginning to notice some of the subtle shifts that happen when you tap into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. But among all the signs, none is more profound than the transformation of your sense of self. You see, living in the third dimension comes with a deeply entrenched attachment to identity. From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to define ourselves by external factors: our name, our job, our achievements, our relationships, even our failures. We construct an identity brick by brick, so much so that it becomes this fortress we live inside, believing it's who we truly are. But here's the truth. The self you've been identifying with is just a mask. It's a construct of the third dimension, built to help you navigate the physical world. When you begin to align with the fifth dimension, that mask starts to crack. You begin to see through the illusion of the old self. You start to realize that you are not your name, not your job, not your successes or failures. You are something far greater. You are pure consciousness. You are infinite energy. You are, quite literally, the universe expressing itself through a human form. This realization is both liberating and terrifying. On one hand, it's like waking up from a dream you didn't know you were having. You feel a deep sense of freedom, like a weight you've been carrying your entire life has suddenly lifted. But on the other hand, it can feel disorienting. If you're not the person you thought you were, then who are you? If the identity you've clung to for so long is just an illusion, what's left? Let me ask you, who do you believe you are right now? Take a moment to sit with that question. Don't just answer with your name or your role. Go deeper. Strip away the labels, the roles, the stories. What's left? This question is at the heart of your awakening. When you begin to tap into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension, the old self dissolves, and in its place, the true self begins to emerge. This process isn't always easy. In fact, it can feel like a kind of spiritual death. The ego, the part of you that's attached to your old identity, will resist this transformation. It will try to hold on to the stories that define you. It might tell you, you need this job to be worthy, or you need this relationship to feel complete, or if you let go of this part of yourself, who will you be? But here's the thing. The ego's fears are based on the illusion of separation. It believes that losing the old self is a form of annihilation, but in reality, it's a rebirth. As you move deeper into the fifth dimension, you begin to notice that your identity is no longer confined to the boundaries of the old self. You start to feel a sense of expansiveness, as if you're dissolving into something much larger than yourself. This is the experience of unity consciousness, the realization that you are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of it. You begin to see yourself in everything, and everything in yourself. The tree, the sky, the stranger walking past you on the street. They're not other. They're all reflections of the same divine energy that flows through you. But let's bring this down to a practical level. How does this shift in identity show up in your day-to-day life? One of the key signs is a change in your priorities. The things that used to matter to you, the material goals, the external validations, the need to prove yourself, begin to lose their grip. It's not that you stop caring about your life or your goals. Instead, your perspective shifts. You stop chasing things out of a sense of lack or fear, and you start creating from a place of abundance and alignment. For example, maybe you've spent years climbing the corporate ladder, believing that success would make you happy, but now you're starting to feel a pull towards something more meaningful. Maybe it's a creative passion you've always put on the back burner, or maybe it's a desire to help others in some way. This pull isn't random, it's your higher self guiding you toward your true purpose. The fifth dimension doesn't just dissolve the old self, it reveals the deeper calling of your soul. Here's a question for you. What would you do with your life if you weren't afraid of failing? Think about it. What's the dream you've buried under the weight of societal expectations and self-doubt? When you align with the fifth dimension, you begin to realize that your purpose isn't something you need to figure out or achieve. It's something you already are. It's the essence of your being, waiting to be expressed. Another sign that your identity is shifting is the way you relate to the concept of control. In the third dimension, we're taught to believe that control equals safety. We plan, strategize, and micromanage every aspect of our lives, hoping that if we can just control enough variables, we'll finally feel secure. But in the fifth dimension, you begin to let go of this illusion of control when you start to see that life isn't something you need to control, it's something you're co-creating with the universe. This doesn't mean you stop taking action or setting goals. It means you approach life with trust instead of fear. You begin to flow with the natural rhythms of the universe, trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. This trust is one of the most liberating aspects of tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension. It allows you to surrender the need to figure everything out, and instead focus on aligning your energy with your highest self. Let me ask you, where in your life are you still trying to control the outcome? Be honest. Is it in your relationships, your career, your health? What would happen if you let go of that need for control and trusted that the universe has your back? This isn't about giving up. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life instead of resisting it. As your identity shifts, so does your sense of purpose. You begin to realize that your purpose isn't just about achieving personal success, it's about contributing to the greater whole. You feel a deep desire to be of service, to use your gifts and talents to uplift others. This is one of the most beautiful signs of aligning with the fifth dimension. Your purpose becomes less about me and more about we. You see yourself as part of a collective evolution, and your actions are guided by love, compassion, and a deep sense of interconnectedness. In the next part, we'll explore how this new sense of purpose translates into your everyday life, and how the spiritual energy of the fifth dimension empowers you to manifest your reality in ways that are both practical and miraculous. Get ready for the final shift, where everything you've learned so far comes together. Let's bring everything together now. You've felt the shifts in your emotions, energy, and identity. You've experienced the gentle dissolving of the old self and the emergence of a deeper sense of purpose. But what happens next? What does life look like when you're fully aligned with the spiritual energy of the fifth dimension? Here's where the real magic begins. This is where you step into your power as a conscious creator. This is where miracles happen. But let's break this down. How exactly does the fifth dimension transform your ability to manifest? It starts with a fundamental shift in how you perceive reality. In the third dimension, most people operate from the belief that reality is something out there that they have to react to or fight against. They see themselves as separate from the world around them, which leads to a constant struggle for control. But in the fifth dimension, you begin to realize that reality isn't something external. It's something you're co-creating from within. The outer world is simply a reflection of your inner vibration. Here's a question for you. What do you believe about your ability to create your reality? Do you feel like life is happening to you, or do you feel like you're an active participant in shaping your experience? This is an important question, because your beliefs are the foundation of your vibration. If you believe you're powerless, you'll manifest situations that reinforce that belief. But if you believe you're a creator, you'll begin to see evidence of your power everywhere. One of the most practical ways to align with the fifth dimension is to pay attention to your thoughts and emotions. Every thought you think and every emotion you feel sends out a vibrational signal to the universe. When you're in the third dimension, your thoughts and emotions are often scattered or reactive, which creates mixed signals and inconsistent manifestations. But when you're aligned with the fifth dimension, your thoughts and emotions become intentional and focused. You begin to consciously choose what you're sending out, knowing that the universe will mirror it back to you. For example, let's say you want to manifest abundance. In the third dimension, you might approach this by working harder, hustling, or trying to earn abundance through effort. But in the fifth dimension, you realize that abundance is a state of being. It's not something you chase, it's something you embody. You shift your vibration to align with the feeling of abundance, and then you watch as opportunities, resources, and synchronicities flow into your life effortlessly. This doesn't mean you stop taking action, but your actions are now inspired by alignment rather than driven by fear or scarcity. A key part of manifesting in the fifth dimension is learning to trust the timing of the universe. In the third dimension, we're often impatient. We want things to happen on our schedule, and when they don't, we feel frustrated or discouraged. But in the fifth dimension, you begin to understand that everything is unfolding in perfect divine timing. You no longer rush or force things. Instead, you trust that the universe is aligning all the pieces in ways you can't yet see. This trust allows you to stay in a high vibrational state, which accelerates the manifestation process. Let me ask you, where in your life are you forcing things to happen? Be honest. Are you clinging to a specific outcome or timeline? What would happen if you surrendered and trusted that the universe knows exactly what you need and when you need it? This doesn't mean giving up on your desires. It means releasing the resistance that comes from trying to control every detail. Surrender creates space for miracles to unfold. Another way the fifth dimension transforms your reality is by expanding your awareness of possibilities. In the third dimension, we're often limited by our beliefs and past experiences. If something hasn't worked before, we assume it won't work now. If we haven't seen evidence of something, we assume it's not possible. But in the fifth dimension, you begin to see beyond these limitations. You realize that the only true limits are the ones you place on yourself. The universe is infinite, and so are the possibilities available to you. Here's a practical exercise. Think about an area of your life where you feel stuck. Maybe it's your career, your relationships, or your health. Now ask yourself, what would be possible if I believed there were no limits? Let your imagination run wild. What would your ideal life look like? How would it feel? This isn't just a daydream. It's a way to shift your vibration. The more you focus on the feeling of what's possible, the more you align with the energy of the fifth dimension, where those possibilities can become reality. As we wrap up, remember this: tapping into spiritual energy in the fifth dimension isn't about escaping the challenges of life. It's about transforming how you experience them. It's about recognizing that you are not just a passenger in this journey. You are the driver, the creator, the source of your own reality. The signs are everywhere, and they're calling you to step into your power. Trust the process, align with your highest self, and watch as miracles unfold in ways you never imagined. The fifth dimension is waiting for you. Are you ready to answer the call